Hello.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, folks. Depending on this is Mallory George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Body, talking to you live on YouTube, folks. It's still early in the week. I mean, it's still the 1st of June. It's starting to get warm out there. Kids, your school's about to end. I remember those days. Being the last days of school were just exciting. You feel like you just got out of lockup. After a few months of school. Anyway, also we have some shows coming up. There is the Omaha Pro, which is coming up tomorrow, and also there is the Southern California Championships, which is also Olympia and Master Olympia qualifier. So you want to check out the shows. I don't think they have live streams. If you're a competitor, if you want to send some pics and videos, please share. I would love to, because quite a few ladies I know doing their shows. I want to keep up with them. So we have here a lovely lady who is an OCP Pro. She just turned OCP Pro just about a month ago. We have the lovely Mrs. Maureen Sikora, if I got the name right. Sikora. Sorry. I say, yeah, man, I'm from the South. Sometimes we mess up things a little differently. And Maureen is a women's physique OCB Pro, natural bodybuilder. She's also a teacher, a mother, and also she does another little thing that's particular my interest, especially if you know my past. So thank you, Maureen, and welcome, and appreciate your time.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm flattered that you asked me to interview me, so thank you.
Well, ma'am, it's a subject. It's my honor, my privilege to have a lady on here and talk about herself. So this is a question I ask you ladies. What got you started in sport? I call it muscle and masculinity. Please share.
Well, I'd always been into fitness since high school, and throughout college, I started teaching fitness classes and became a group fitness instructor and a personal trainer. And that became my side thing. School teacher by day and fitness instructor in the evening, personal trainer. I did that for more than 30 years, did it through all my pregnancies. And then when I was around 40, I went back to work full time because I stayed home for 10 years to take care of my kids. And even when I did that, I still continued to train, just not, I wasn't bodybuilding. I was just, weight training and running. And I did marathons and triathlons. I did a lot of, I've always been into competition. I like anything that's hard. So when I went back to school, teaching full time, I didn't like teaching classes anymore because I wanted my workouts to be for me. And that's when I focused more on different challenges like marathon running and whatnot. But what got me into bodybuilding, so I'm 55. Throughout my 40s, like my later 40s, my body was going through perimenopause, and the change for a woman is it's really hard because my body wasn't responding the way I was used to responding. I was eating whatever I wanted, and it was starting to show. And it used to not, because I could eat whatever I wanted, and it was just fine. But it was starting to show, and then it became hard to lose. And my family has a really strong history of diabetes and high blood cholesterol, heart issues. My mom had a heart attack at 35. My brothers, my mom, and my dad all had diabetes before the age of 50. And I didn't yet. So, but when I went to the doctor and he said my A1C was pre-diabetic and my cholesterol was high, he wanted to put me on cholesterol medicine. And I didn't like that. So I changed my diet and I was eating cleaner. And that made a big difference because I got leaner without really trying much because I was still exercising and doing what I normally do. But people started to ask me, hey, do you bodybuild? Because I was lean. And it just not something I considered, but enough people started to ask me that it put a bug in my head. And so last summer, I found a coach that literally is like a half mile from my house and asked him what I would need to do. And he got me ready in 12 weeks to compete in my first competition. So I didn't expect to kind of fall into it, but I did. And my first my first go at this was last November. Really, as I did an OCB competition last November in Doylestown and competed in figure. And I did okay. I placed well, but my coach thought I would do better in physique. And I wasn't sure. I thought the whole prep time, I was like, I am never doing this again. Because I had a terrible prep, to be honest with you. It was like I had so many stomach issues. I was exhausted. I was at the same time competing for my other sport and preparing for a competition in my other sport as well. So between work and coaching, I coach track and cross country. And between work and coaching and trying to fit in intense, crazy amounts of cardio, my weight training, and competing in my other sport as well, I was exhausted and I didn't think I'd ever do this again. But on my way home from my competition, I was looking up dates for the spring. So um, I'm glad I gave it a second chance because this time around was a whole different kind of prep and I felt a whole lot better, had a whole lot more energy. Still busy, and still tiring, but a whole lot different this time.
Yeah. That's the thing about bodybuilding. It's a very a very tough sport, especially we goes for women, and going through what you do is being postmenopausal. That's a process I think as men we never understand because as men we're not meant for that. We just make babies. That's all we do, and understanding that the nuances, especially you're doing it naturally, which is a lot tougher compared to enhanced competitors.
I mean, to be honest with you, I am so new to this sport. I don't know what other people do. All I would never put anything in my body that would jeopardize my health. Or like I'm happy being healthy and natural. I don't need any enhancements or anything like that. I take vitamins, like multivitamins, but I don't take anything other than protein powder, creatine, and collagen peptides. I put that in my protein shake. So other than that, like I don't really take anything because I don't need to. I got off of cholesterol medication a while ago, and I think right now I'm just enjoying the process, enjoying eating clean, having clear objectives, and the structure of the whole bodybuilding routine is what I enjoy.
Yeah, that's the thing is, I think most people don't have that discipline, like many you competitors have to be clean, to be consistent, to be disciplined, because there's so many temptations in the world. I can tell you, I'm a fat man, and I have those issues too. I'm pre-diabetic. My mother, my sisters, my father had died of a heart problem. My brother had died of heart problems. My she was my third oldest sister. She had a stroke, and the complications of that, eventually she passed away. Um, when I was 39, I had my first heart attack. I was at work and I didn't know. I thought I was had a cold, and then now I have a pacemaker. I had for 12 years, and because at one point I was taking care of my mom, and the stress of that, food was seen as a comfort because and I was at one point I was almost 500 pounds, and I had to do something. I still take medication because I do have heart issues, but not as much like I used to because I made some changes. I'm not going to be perfect because again, food is temptation. Like especially you smell like my mom used to cook, and she cooked the fried chicken and the rice and the beans and everything like that. It's just that's the thing, and that's finding that way to control those habits. Like with your family, like how was it like with your kids coming up and also being a teacher too for yourself?
Um, you're asking about my own kids. My
About yourself and your family.
Okay. Well, my kids are all grown now, and nobody lives at home anymore. My oldest is 27. He lives in New York. Um, he's a software engineer for Amazon, and my second oldest, he's 25. He'll be 26 next month, and he's serves in the Marines. He's deployed right now.
Sample five, sample the devils.
Thank you. And my youngest is my daughter. She's 24, and she lives in Nashville, and she's in the music industry. So
Oh.
yeah, nobody lives at home. They all live far away.
Well, your
So
man's there. You got a man there. Then you got the man's house.
got my guy. But it being an empty nester makes it more conducive for me to be able to do what I want. I don't have to worry about coming home and taking care of the kids. They're grown. They're gone. They're taking care of themselves now. Um, and my husband has a routine of exercising after work too. So we both don't get home or don't get done with what we do until close to 9 o'clock at night. So that's when we're eating dinner. It's that's our routine. Get up, go to work, go to the gym, then I go on to my other sport and come back home, and it's almost 9 o'clock by the time I'm eating my last meal, and then I prep for the next day. So yeah, it's a late night and early morning. So yeah,
Well, that's the thing about with a bodybuilder. You have to have that constant routine, a discipline routine. Be it from morning to night to the middle. Also, the eating is very important because it's a part of growing your process. We have some people here. Shout out to my man Panther coming through. My man Black Panther Studio says hi. George says he says hi. Appreciate you, brother, coming through. Also, he says this. Shout out to my man. He says, says I believe that the 2026 Omaha, Nebraska Pro featuring women's physique will be great. Okay, cool. Also, he says this Maureen is a great natural women's physique athlete. And
well, thank
also,
you.
he says this. I got to put my old glasses because I'm starting to strain. I'm getting that age. And he says this. He says eating properly with organic nutrition is essential for great life expectancy. I appreciate that, brother. And also, he has one more for here. Here he says, Maureen, where are you originally from?
Born and raised in New Jersey. Rainforest.
Jersey.
Yep.
That's some like we wow. My father was living in Jersey after he and my mother broke up, and that's where he's at. He's been gone for a long time. And I had an aunt, my aunt or she lived up there. She lived in Patterson. I always want to go up there and visit them, but down here I didn't have the time, didn't get it back. But when she passed, I regret not to go opportunity to go see either one of their funerals. But you know what? Maybe someday I get the chance. Jersey, wow, there's quite a few. I think it's a growing number of bodybuilders in Jersey. I know one lady, she's Ivy Pro, Sheena Olick. One lady, Michelle Moon. It's just I think everybody finds something about this sport that really draws them to them. Like as you said earlier, people came to you saying, "Hey, you look kind of buff. You think about competing?" What was that experience like that first time on stage?
What was the experience first time? It was fun. I that's the part I love. I liked being up on stage and the show part. That's what you train for. So I do appreciate that. Yeah.
Was Were your man and your babies there that day? Seeing that's her mom on stage in high heels and a bathing suit.
Like I said, they all live far away, so and they all have full-time jobs, so they can't come back. Like I said, I have one in the Marines. He's not able to just come home when he wants to, and they all have jobs, so it's okay.
Well, okay. Like I said again, as boys, our mother is our first true love, and I'm saying with your son, being in the Marines, and anybody who serves our country. I had my nieces, my oldest niece, and my youngest nephew join the Army. I don't say thank you for your service. I say I appreciate the sacrifice you made on behalf of us citizens of this country. That is, that's a sacrifice to be in the military. I was thinking about joining myself, but I got a job. So, and I think they probably, if they can, it's not that they can't, it's just that if they can find a way because this is their mom, and you just turned pro. I mean, this is a great situation. What did you and the hubby do afterwards that day?
I went to a restaurant. I belong to a team called Team Nonstop. With my coach is David Milligan, and there was a few of us that had competed that day, so we went out to dinner and enjoyed the company of other people. I mean, going out to dinner is a treat because I'm always eating the same food at home, so it's nice to have that treat. But I competed the next week, so I had to get right back on it the next day. So and then so I competed on May 2nd for the ANFB. ANBF Kings Cup in Brick on May 2nd. I competed and I got my pro card for physique that day. And then the next week was OCB Conquer in Baltimore. That was on Saturday, May 9th. So in that, I got my pro card for both Masters and Open for physique. I was supposed to compete on May 16th for OCB, but that's an amateur only event and I was no longer eligible. So I couldn't do that. So that's why I looked for a pro competition before the summer so I can maximize my condition where I'm at right now and compete as a pro before the summer starts. So that's why I'm preparing for another one on June 20th. And that's, then I'm going to relax for a bit over the summer, do some traveling, and maybe get back into it for the next year. I'm not sure yet. I have goals for the fall too. So I don't know which competition I'm going to look to train for next year.
Well, I know one of the biggest competitions is the if you look at it's like the Yorkton. It's right here in North Carolina.
Yeah.
It's in Charlotte. It's one of the biggest competitions for the OCB. It's kind of like if you look at it's like the best way to compare it is like it's the Olympia version of natural bodybuilding.
Yeah.
You know.
I would love to do that. Thing is though, it's right in September, so I'd have to be in season all summer, and I'm doing some traveling, so I can't. I just don't want to stress over it, you know. So I'd rather kind of relax a little bit. I think my family wants me to too, so they want me to chill a little bit with them and enjoy the summer without the stress of being so regimented, you know. So I think about it. I'm not sure if I'm going to be ready for Yorkton this year, maybe next, but I definitely that's a goal to do a Yorkton.
Well, I know this show in I think it's the Chesapeake. I think that's around October, I believe. Also, there's
I think Chesapeake is September.
September, okay.
Yeah.
And also there's Double Down. I think that's up in New York. A couple other shows. I know a guy. He follows all the OCB competitors.
Mm-hmm.
And we talk about stuff. He makes me aware of some things. That's one of my favorite quotes from my favorite movie, Batman Begins. Beware of surroundings all time, young Master Wayne. Never give up your footing for a killing blow. And we have here a shot to my man. Panther says this. Maureen, excuse me, I'll put my old man glasses for a second. Says Maureen, you should compete in North Carolina and Tennessee. All right, and also he says, family is everything. Like when you started this, what did you talk to with your kids, and your family, because most people would think about bodybuilding. The idea of it's like these big, gruff, big people, and you got men who sound like Vin Diesel.
Well, I mean, they know what else I do. So, let me start with that. A couple of years ago, my husband sent me a reel of this pretty woman doing some cool things on monkey bars, and there was some calisthenics, and I was like, wow, that's really cool. Her name is Carrie Gold, and I was like, that is so cool. And she said, hey, I'm 52. I couldn't do this in my 20s, couldn't do it in my 30s, and I didn't start training until I was 47. And at the time, I was 52. So I was like, what does she train for? What is she doing? So I started scrolling through her Instagram and her TikTok, and she was a pole dancer. And I thought, well, that's pretty cool. That's pretty interesting. That's neat. So I found a pole studio near me in Princeton, and I started training in pole. And now I can do everything she does on those monkey bars. And I train in calisthenics as well. But I think training in pole gave me like a whole different attitude towards things. My kids were mortified.
Who wouldn't be? Can think about kids, even though
they're mortified. They're like, my mother does pole. Please don't tell anybody.
Yes.
Please not post that publicly.
Not like he's like throwing ones at you.
No, and that's not what I do. Okay, let me just clarify, I do pole sport. I am not a stripper. I am not a sex worker. And that is no shade to anyone who is a stripper or a sex worker, because there are some phenomenal people who are incredibly talented who do that. And that it's just not what I do. I don't do that. There's different styles of pole, there's different styles of dance. Dance in itself is a discipline, just like martial arts. And so pole is too. You know, I I have a different style. I kind of do what's called pole sport, which is more like gymnastics on a pole, you know. But that's not to say I don't like to dance too. Like I like it both together. It has dance, flexibility, choreography, strength moves, calisthenics. Everything is incorporated into it. So pole is incredibly complex to learn, and it's very difficult to learn, um, but it is really fun, and that and it's a great way to express myself too. And I found that group of people became like a tribe to me. You know, like I really enjoyed the community. I enjoyed the I having friends. You know, at this age it was hard to make, but most of them are younger than me, and that's okay. That's why I became pole mama. You know, because I'm the mama of the group. You know, and that's why I love the sport. Is it involves so much. But so my kids, when I told them I was going to go into bodybuilding, they're like, okay. They know I do crazy stuff. They knew I've done like 10 marathons. I've done numerous, you know, Olympic distance triathlons. I've done countless half marathons. I've done trail races. I like challenges. So whenever I take something, I dive into it, and I pour myself into it. And they saw things that are happening, you know, that things that were changing. They saw, you know, now mom's doing pull-ups, you know, wow, I can, you know, that's cool. Or they saw that I was becoming stronger. And when I said I was going to try a bodybuilding competition, you know, no one said anything. I know they think I'm crazy, but like they support me, and they don't, you know, they don't throw any shade. They don't discourage me or anything, but they're supportive. Yeah.
Well, children, we love our mothers. We support things, but sometimes you do embarrass us. You know, like, oh no, my mom's on the pole again. I mean, now you know, my mom's on the stage, you know, butt naked. They say, "Hey, man, is that your mom?" Oh yeah. Say, now, calm down, dude. You know,
No, I don't think anyone does that.
yeah,
I
that's
don't think
what.
anyone said that to my kids. At least I hope not.
Well, not to your kids and not to your face. People, here's the thing is, I learned a long time ago, and I've also worked in the industry. People will say things and they don't say it directly to you. But the thing is, I wouldn't waste my time and energy about it because you know what? You're doing something that you like and you do. And
Yeah.
you know what? That's the thing is, people will always have judgments because
And I
that's how
stopped
people are.
caring about that. Like I I was pretty self-aware when I first started, and didn't want people to know that I did it because I figured it was very like people get judgy over what that means for me. Or like, oh, what kind of person is she that she's doing that? Like, well, you know, I've learned to not care. Was when I perform, you know, on the pole, and I perform really only at competitions. I haven't or at our showcase, but I'm not like performing in a strip club. I'm not. That's just not me. There's no shade against anyone who does that. That's just not my style. Um, I have some phenomenal instructors who do that, and they're incredibly talented, and have taught me some crazy cool stuff. But you know, I think we all have our own style and what we feel comfortable with. And so I'm more comfortable now about how I feel on the pole, and what other people think of me. I don't really care anymore.
Yeah, I think you should be comfortable with yourself. But then again, people are always going to have misconceptions of what you. And you know, the last few years, even if you ever heard of it, the All Sports and the Classics, one of the biggest shows in the IFBB, they even have pole dancing competitions. They started like about 20 years ago. It really blew up. I mean, I've known bodybuilders who do this. One lady, I'll send you a link. Her name is Abby Lopez. She's IFB Pro, and she does pole dancing on the side. You know, it's energy. It's a workout. I've known quite a few bodybuilders who've done it as a way as training and practice. It's tough because you know your skin's a lot thinner because of the bodybuilding, because you really trying to build the muscle, and it does take a lot more, a little more cushion, especially you style on the pole. We got here, shout out to my man here, um, Panther. He says this. Give me a second here. He says, yeah, it says bodybuilding has no age limit. Fitness can be pursued any time. I
Yeah.
appreciate that, brother. Also, shout out to my man here. It says Tennessee has a great country music scene. Oh, that's
My
pretty
daughter
cool.
lives in Nashville, so I know.
Yeah, it's probably one of the biggest scenes out there. And also, he says this. He says, "Beautiful smile, Maureen. You are the greatest." Thank
Thank
you,
you.
brother. And also, he says this. He says, "Maureen, never let anyone disrespect you in public." Yes,
Or in
most
private.
definitely. Or private, yeah, like I said, hey, yes, people like that. And woman says dancing is a great workout for women. Yeah, this is a lot of. I know quite a few ladies who were started out in dancing. One lady, she's Ivy Pro. She used to dance back in the day, and she does figure. I know some women who started in track and field, or like yourself. I knew a lady who I interviewed a while back. She competed in bodybuilding like 30 years ago, took a step back, came back, turned pro at 74 years old, and she
That's
competed one
crazy.
more year and retired. It's the thing about bodybuilding. It's not the fountain of youth, but it does kind of slow down Father Time a little bit
I think
because
any exercise does. I think staying in shape and how you eat really does affect your health. You know, eating clean got me off of cholesterol medication. My A1C is down. I'm 55 and I still don't have diabetes yet, but yet everyone in my family had it before 50. So that's that says something, about what I'm doing. Um, just trying to keep myself healthy. Not to say that bodybuilding in itself, yeah, being in shape is healthy, but the nutrition here, yeah, it can be an unhealthy habit. It definitely does develop some unhealthy attitudes towards food or just some dysmorphia, about your own body image. So I mean, it's easy to get into that. I'm aware of it, so I think that helps.
Yeah, because I know quite a few ladies who talk to. Body dysmorphia is one thing. Some got it too because of past issues with food, like this, being anorexia, bulimia, and they found something to help them control it a little bit. The aspect of the mind, the body is one thing, and understanding the factors of growing as a human in this sport. I think, but again, not everybody can do what y'all do to stay disciplined, stay consistent, stay patient, and also do it naturally. Because natural bodybuilding started blowing up for you, like OCB has been around, PCA. You mentioned the American Natural Bodybuilding Federation, where you get your pro card before the OCB pro card. I mean, there's so many opportunities. If you don't know this, even the NPC, they just had last month a pro qualifier for natural bodybuilding, because they even have natural shows for both the IFB and NBC. Because, a lot of people always going to associate bodybuilding with the use of performance enhancers or the other stuff. But again, you're doing it in a way that is very natural, very healthy for you, and also helps you with your issues with your diabetes and the high blood pressure. There's benefits to it. Shout out to him, my man. This is my man mentioned, my man KL the Wanderer. He also does content. He's I call him King OCB. He says, "Happy Monday, brother. Happy Monday to you." He says, also he says, "How long you been pole dancing, Maureen?
Just 2 years, a little
Have you
more.
won any,
What's that?
have you won any titles?"
I have competed 3 times for a pole sport organization. I won. I've placed every time that I've competed. So I did win gold last summer as level 3, um, and then I won third place in level 3 in November. So yeah, I've placed. It's not titles that you get; it's more like a medal. Happy to perform, and getting a medal is always nice. To be placed in the top 3. So yeah.
So, while we got her here, we're going to jump into her social media. You want to follow Maureen? Her links in the description of this live. You want to support her? Reach out and get your interest. These ladies can use support because bodybuilding is a tough sport, especially for women. Because the diet, the training, the regimen, And also, it's good to encourage them because it's important because they're doing this because of love. This is a sport where you don't make a lot of money. If, she's a pro now.
It's a
It's just,
good money drainer. It is
it's,
not a money maker.
yeah. You like I said,
Being pro, even if you earn money, it's still you gotta. It's all the stuff. Just being able to compete and the competition and the cost of the bikini itself. I guarantee a cost of a bikini is a lot more than the cost that the men have to pay for their suits. You know,
where I often say this with men, all they gotta wear a pair of banana and boy shorts. They just gotta slap on some tan, and if they got hair, put a little mousse it or just shave it. Women, your presentation has to be very elegant. The suits
yeah.
will cost you from maybe the lower end $500 to maybe about over a few $1,000s. And then show day is probably the guys have their expense doing prep, but show day is most expensive for you ladies because hair, makeup,
Prep is also
jewelry.
really expensive too. Just the supplements that you're
Yeah,
buying, your protein shake, your vitamins, all that stuff is really expensive.
yeah.
And it's a monthly cost, a monthly cost for your coach. Your meal prep is very huge, so it's also expensive after a while. I mean, I should invest in chickens.
Buy a
Eating a lot
farm,
of
buy a chicken farm.
chicken and eggs, so but it gets expensive. And so, yeah, even if you are a pro, unless you are doing it every week and earning money every single week, I don't see how this is really a money maker for you. It's really just an honor to compete, you know, um, as anything.
Here's a bonus: your babies are grown. You don't have to worry about taking care of them anymore. So that's a little levity off of your pockets somewhat, but still, it is expensive. So, folks, we got a comment here. Shout out to my man Black Panther. He says, Maureen, never anyone to bully you and disrespect you private. Always stand up for yourself. Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
Also, Marine never allow anyone to, he said the same thing, sometimes. Also, shout out to him. He says, Marine, you are still a teacher.
Yes. Yep. I teach middle school math.
Aren't y'all wrapped up for the summer now?
No, New Jersey goes kind of late. So my last day of school is the 22nd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here in North Carolina, I think we're just about getting out. Next door neighbor, South Carolina, they got out last week, and
Yeah.
kids are already graduating. That's
We start in September. So we start like the right after Labor Day. So I know many of you guys in the South start mid-August, but we don't start that early. So we start right after Labor Day and we go until late June. It seems like it's getting later all the time. But yeah, that's where we are. We were supposed to end on the 19th, but we have a snow day, so now we have to come back in for Monday the 22nd.
I know when y'all have snow days, it's like long. We had some snow here, but it didn't last no more than a day and a half. Like to quote my other guy, sometimes it's like this. When up north when it snows, no one makes an eye. But when it comes down south, when it snows, it half an inch, and everybody goes crazy. So it's just because it's a different level out here. It doesn't take a lot. By the time we get into our summer, y'all still get into spring.
I guess, yeah. I mean, our spring is May, so it's supposed to be anyway. It was weird this May. Like sometimes we had some really cold days and sometimes we had some hot days. So
Right now, it's got to be here. It's about close to 90s here now, because it don't take too long for it to get hot. Especially out in the country. We have to shout out to my man KL the Wanderer. He says this. He says, "Have you considered doing pole dancing at the Arnold's?" I just mentioned to her,
I
if
don't
she
know where
knows
that.
it. Well, the Arnold Classics, one, I said again, it's one of the biggest shows in the sport of bodybuilding, next to the Olympia, and they do have pole dancing competitions. If you know anybody who can tell you that, they can probably explain it to you. I don't know what you need to do to get involved with that, but that's something you might interest in maybe in the future.
Yep,
Shout out
maybe. I
also,
mean, I've never heard of it, so it's something to look at.
yeah. Shout out to my man. He says this is Marine. You are a great inspiration to all women's worldwide. Thank you, brother. And
Thank you.
also, he says, Marine, you have attended a bodybuilding show in New Jersey.
I competed in the ANBF on May 2nd in Brick, New Jersey. Yeah.
Brick City.
What's that?
I think they call it Brick City.
No, it's Brick. Just
Brick.
Brick. Yep.
Yeah, I know some places in Church Stephanie call Brick City. I forget what it is. But folks, we're gonna jump into a social media. You want to follow her, check out her links, shoot out to her, and show respect, and also support her because you know what, these ladies can really use it. So we're gonna go into IG for a little bit, and here she is doing some routines. I mean, what do you enjoy about it? Here also with your after the show with some of your
Teammate.
stablemates. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's your coach in the middle.
Yep. Yeah.
And,
That
and who
was
are the
at
other? Go ahead.
um well that was at Baltimore. There's a couple of teammates on there. We competed in different categories. So the one that's right next to David, that's my coach right there, that
Hmm.
she competed with me in physique. We wound up competing head to head, which is crazy. So our coach was really thrilled with that. She won her, I think for physique, there was an A class and a B class. So she won the B class, I won the A class, and then we competed against each other. And I won that. So that's why I got the pro card. But they're all phenomenal women, and they all compete in different things. So there's Jess, she is a bikini pro, and Lena, and I can't remember who the other person was. Luisa, I think she's also pro.
Who
Yeah.
she's doing the practicing. Was it your first time we started the pole dancing? Was it really tough, especially for yourself, especially from
It's
coming
still
from an athletic background?
it's still very tough. Pole is not easy. If it's easy, then you aren't challenging yourself. You know, I mean, the more you know, the more you realize you don't know. So, um, yeah, in the beginning, you get a lot of bruises. I still get bruises all the time, from different things. It's very hard on the body. Um, Banging on the pole. If I do a shoulder mount, like the next day, my shoulders are all bruised up. But that's okay. Like I'm kind of used to it by now. My hands are pretty beat up from it too, and I get my shins get beat up. But it is not easy. Um, it's it, but it's fun.
Yeah,
It's just fun to challenge yourself.
here she is doing some pull ups here, and you got some. You have great control. I mean, especially for a woman of 50 plus. I mean, you like you ever have those young kids saying, "Wow, I want to learn from you. Can you be my teacher?"
You want me to be your teacher? Is that what you're asking me?
No,
I'm
no.
sorry.
Ever have anybody approach you being a teacher?
Um, no, I don't think people have asked me like that directly. I mean, they've maybe asked me advice on something, but not asked me to be a teacher.
What was that feeling for you that day when they call you, say, now you are OCB pro?
Honestly, if you told me a year ago that I would be a pro bodybuilder, I probably would have laughed at you. Um, I, like I said, I'm really still new in this sport, so I didn't expect anything from that. I always hope to win. I'm competitive, so I like to win. I hope to win. I try to win. I always put my best foot out there. But I realize competition is thick, and there's other people out there who work just as hard, if not harder than me. So when they called my name for that, I was kind of excited, not just excited. I was a little emotional about it, just realizing it really does mean a lot to me.
And you've been doing this for about a couple of years.
Oh,
And then,
bodybuilding, I just started last July. I haven't even been
last year,
doing it a full year. Yeah.
not a full year yet. So, well, not a full year. So that's phenomenal. Because,
Yeah.
I know some ladies who've done it for a long time who never got the opportunity to turn pro in their organization. But they just love the training, the regiments, everything that's involved with it. I mean, it's a lot of sacrifice. She's doing splits. Now I feel like that makes me hurt. Especially us older ages. I got two bad knees that Stone Cold Steve Austin Maureen. I mean, I got issues back, stuff like that. I know it's tough, especially when we get to our ages where bones are creaking and things are popping, and when it's not like when we were younger, we can just get up fresh as a daisy. Especially you got your kids, they're the age where they still can run all day, run all night.
You know, People say age is just a number, right? But it's not. Age is a factor. And as you get older, especially for women who lose their estrogen, getting menopausal, it's easier for us to get injured. Overuse injuries plague people who are middle aged, but it's also harder to recover from. And that being said, though, age is a factor, but it should never be a limiter. And so if you are thinking that you are limited by your age, it's you who are limited, not your age. Your thinking is wrong because you can do anything you want if you want to do it bad enough. Age is not something that should limit you, but it's something you need to be aware of. So, like, I know that I'm learning my limits. I used to, do the same, try to do the same trick on the pole until I could nail it. But after a while, like now, I realize, my body needs a break from it, and then maybe if I come back in a couple of days, try it again, I'll get it better. Because there's fatigue. My body fatigues differently, especially because a lot of the times when I go to pole, I've already done a full gym workout. I've, done my hour of cardio. I've done an hour and a half of lifting, and now I'm at pole. So I'm fatigued, and I have to give myself that grace. So, but remember, age is it's not just a number; it's a factor, but it should not be a limiter to you.
Well, here she is giving a little conversation. You want to hear it?
Oh, I was.
I just wanted to update you with the competition that I've been in for Miss Health and Fitness. Looks like I'm out, which is okay. I placed fourth in my group in the semifinals. Something I did not ever expect to ever make it to. This started in January with 576 groups of 50, and I made it to the top 64, something that would not have been possible without the support of all of you and your votes, your donations. I'm genuinely humbled by all of it, and I couldn't thank you more. This doesn't go wasted. Every penny goes towards the Andrew McDonough Be Positive Foundation to help families who have children with cancer. So thank you again. I promise I will stop bothering you to vote for me every day. But again, thank you so much. I'm so flattered. Thank you.
Well, ma'am, I think people are good that supported you in that endeavor. I know quite a few ladies who do it, try to get to the health and fitness, be the spokesperson for them. I mean, it's tough. I feel sometimes it's a little bit set up because they particularly who they want to pick, who want to choose. But got into your class pretty well, and what was that feeling for you when you feel like I was so close? I was so close.
Okay, so I decided to do the Miss Health and Fitness competition, and if you win, you win a sum of money and to be on the cover of their magazine, Health and Fitness, her magazine, and I was excited about that too. So to do that, I had to get people to vote for me, and there were several rounds. It kind of goes on forever, and I wasn't appreciating the fact that it went on for so long, but it's a fundraiser for the Andrew McDonough Be Positive Foundation. So the fundraiser, and they're trying to make the most out of it, and I think that's why it went on for so long. But I never expected to keep making it to the next round, and yet I was somehow making it to the next round. My friends who would vote for me, or my brother has a pod of friends that would just keep voting for me. So it kept getting me to the next round, and I was just floored because there's so many people that could be out there making it to the next round, but there I was. So people were supporting me, and that's truly touching. So to do that, I would make reels, daily. I would just kind of post what I was doing, and people would respond to that. So that was really cool, for me to see the support. I didn't expect that kind of support.
Well, people when they, especially you talk about your brother, he want his, is he the older brother or younger brother?
I have two brothers. Both of them are older.
So you're the baby girl.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the middle. I'm the middle out of my altogether. There's technically nine of us, but when my mother and father had
Big
seven, and
family.
my father had I have an older brother before he married my mother, and I have a younger sister after they broke up. So and the babies, y'all always get the love, especially you're a girl, I know you get all the attention, What about your family? What they think about your bodybuilding? Your like your brothers and your other family.
Well, both my parents are deceased, so they're long gone, and my in-laws are gone too. So it's just us now. My brothers both support me. Nobody lives here in New Jersey anymore. Everybody's gone. So one's in California, another was in Florida. Um, but they were supportive and voted for me and put posts on their Facebook and whatnot to help try to gather support for me as well. So it was appreciated. Yeah.
That's good because people think bodybuilding is a lone sport, but it does take a team. If it's your coach, he's one of the part of the team. Your husband, your kids who support you, your brothers that support you, because it's important. Because you know what, this is a sport that really involves a lot of sacrifice and a lot of work and time to build your body to a certain level where you're very competitive, to stand on stage and present yourself. My conversation with some of you ladies, it's a lot to do, and there's so much involved in it. And I think people should be more understanding of how it takes and what it takes to build a body to a certain level where you are in condition and when you're in shape and to go on the stage and present it to the world, and also dealing with also other stuff involved with bodybuilding. We have your comment from my man Panther. He says, great Instagram picture, crew. Pole dancing is a very intense and fun, you know. Also, he says this. He says, great athleticism, Maureen. I mean,
Athleticism.
yeah, thank you. You're a teacher. You can correct me. And also, he says, bodybuilding is hard sport that brings forth great success. Yeah, like after the show, did you talk to judges, get a critique of what you think you might need to work on, especially you're planning on making your pro debut?
I did. Well, more from ANBF. I did not get my feedback yet from OCB. Um, I actually forgot to ask for that, so I will. But from the ANBF, I competed in both figure and physique, and I think the resounding feedback from the judges was that I do better in physique than I do figure because of the way my body is, I guess, and the posing style is a little more conducive for me and what I'm comfortable with, but it made my assets stand out better. So um, physique seems to be where I'm going to be staying for a while. So that was basically the feedback on that.
Yeah, because especially some particular women, if like wellness, it's a very popular division.
Mm-hmm.
Some women have the more bottom heavy, a little bit more thicker in the quads and thighs, especially naturally. And a division like you don't have bodybuilding because in OCB for women you have figure and physique, and those are certain levels of conditioning. With figure, you have to have that nice broad shoulders. You want that nice taper into the waist. You want good width at the back. And with physique, you get to do more posing. You have to work around in high heels. You do enough for that already with the pole dancing, but now you'll be flat on your feet. I know some ladies will say, you know what, I enjoy taking off my high heels when I left figure because I have to wear things again. But that's the thing about it. Everybody has to work on a particular thing. What you feel like is your best physical appearance? Which think is your best overall look of your physique?
I'm sorry, what is the best?
Your best body part? What you think is the best? Yeah.
I think my back. My back and shoulders like stand out the best, or at least that seems to be more prominent for me. Yeah, I would say that.
So the back is the one part that makes or break how you place, and because you want that good width, you want that nice graininess, you want a nice pop. And which thing you feel like you need to work on the most physically?
I wish I'd have more chiseled abs. I see people with more like that chiseled 6-pack or 8-pack. And I have a naturally thick waist. It just, I know some people will be like, "What are you talking about?" But no, it's thicker than I want it to be. But it's just that's the part I think that's the hardest to gain is those abs.
Especially you have 3 kids, and depending on the size of your kids and the birth, sometimes it affects how your abdominals. Some ladies have it naturally, some women don't. It takes a lot of work to work on any part of the body. Work on your strength as much as with your weaknesses. Like, what's your training like during the week? What's the regimen for you?
Well, I work. Like I said, I'm a teacher, so right after school, if I'm done with coaching for now. So coaching was about 8 weeks in the spring, but so I always pushed everything later, and I'd have to get up earlier to do my cardio and fit that in there. So I was getting up at like 4:30 in the morning to get my cardio done before work, and then I would lift after coaching and do pole. I do pole a couple days a week too, so I would do that after lifting. This is exhausting. It's tiring, but right now that school's winding down, done with coaching, I go right from the gym. I mean, right from work. I don't usually come home. I go right to the gym and do what I need to do. And if it's a pull night, I go right to pull afterwards. But I've learned to not necessarily do everything in one day. It's either pull and cardio or pull and lift. But trying to do pull, cardio, and lifting all in one day becomes really tiring when I'm on a calorie deficit diet. So I have to watch that because I have to make sure I'm supporting my activities with my nutrition too. But if I'm training for a competition, and I am right now, that's what becomes more my priority. And so I have to watch what I'm eating. So, and the timing of how I'm eating. I like to have my dinner after everything. I don't like eating on and then working out on a full stomach. But I might have like a little bit of like maybe an ounce of chicken or something before I go on to pull because it gives me a little bit of protein and I'm not so starving that at least I have the energy to get through it.
Yeah, you
But
don't want to be, you want
generally,
to be sitting, you always sit at the kitchen table like go fall asleep in your plate and you say, honey, wake up, wake up, wake up.
uh, I have started to fall asleep at the table sometimes. So, yeah, yeah. I mean, I get glassy eyed. That's when we're like, let's just start cleaning up and get ready for the next day. So, yeah,
Yeah, it's good to be as like this to work smarter but not harder
yeah,
because you don't want to because like I said again we are at the age where we're not spring chickens anymore. We can't run all day, run all night. We have to be smarter because what even though our bodies are wanting to do more and to go more, but we do have to take our time. We have to take it easy because sometimes things happen. Like you ever have any injuries that really kind of set you back in the past?
yes, definitely. Um, discovered pole is I love it, but it's very unilateral. So I know I'm supposed to train both sides, but like honestly, it's very hard to train both sides because you're either righty or you're lefty, and so some things I do better on my left and do better on my right, and I tend to have a shoulder issue on my left side. So you know, more like I trained a lot for my pole competition in the fall. I had to do a certain spin in my routine, and it pulled a lot on the back of my shoulder. So I still find that irritates every once in a while. And there's some things that I know I nurse it. Like I can't do certain twisted grips, and um, that's kind of my weakness. Like yeah. So you, you gotta take care of those little things. Nagging injuries that keep coming back. It's because I keep repeating the same stuff.
Yeah,
So
I
I
understand. I got. Go ahead.
I try to take care of it, where I rest for a period of time. It helped a lot, where when I'm like competing for my last show, I didn't do pull for like 2 weeks because I needed to bring down my cortisol levels and it helped a lot. Actually, everything started to feel a lot better. Just not putting the strain on my body for a little while. So you need you need to do things in phases. Just like marathon training. You go through phases. You can't just get off the couch and start running 40 miles a week and expect to be able to run a marathon. Like you're going to get shin splints, you're going to get injuries, right? You have to gradually build up to it. So you go through phases and then you kind of have a taper towards your race. And that's the same thing with any competition where you build up, you build up, you build up, and then you got to start resting so that you're ready for your competition, so that your body comes back down and you're not injured and you feel better. So you got to go through phases.
Mm-hmm. And also being a natural bodybuilder, the process takes longer. It takes you maybe more time to put on more size compared to an enhanced bodybuilder. It might take you maybe a good 8 weeks to put on maybe 2 or 3 more pounds if you want to get more size. And yeah, it is a phase. It's step by step. You don't want to miss or skip anything that can derail your opportunity, especially if you plan on making your pro debut. Here, shout out to my man again, Black Panther. Appreciate him. He says this. He says, true happiness and a great marriage are great gifts from God. Thank you, brother. Also, he says this. He says, Maureen, never allow anyone to stop you from achieving greatness. Appreciate that, brother. Also, he says this. He says, rest and relaxation is good for the human body. Yes, most definitely. Sometimes in the morning, I get up, I start feeling my own bones, and creaking, but that's how it is. So, what you feel like, for you, what do you feel like would be the thing that help you to get to a certain level in sport? What would be something that could help you in your process to grow as an athlete?
Well, to be more educated about the process and setting different goals. I need a goal, and that is what I work towards. I'm very fixed on that. So whatever my goal is, I make it my goal for a period of time, and I work towards it. So and right now in bodybuilding, my goal is to place as a pro. I'm competing for the first time as a pro in just 2 weeks, and that was a goal. This year was just to get a pro card. Didn't expect it. I worked toward it, but everybody on the pro stage earns a spot there. That's a thick competition, so it's much different than being an amateur where people have not yet earned a spot there. They haven't earned that status. They're new. There's no shade against that, but everybody on a pro stage earned a pro card. So competing against other phenomenal people who are incredibly in shape, I don't have any expectations right now. It would be a goal to place, but I'm not expecting to. I just would love to, and I'm hoping that I can. I'm going to do the best that I can and focus on that.
When I talk with bodybuilders, it's like they have that. You remember the movie Talladega Nights with Will Ferrell? Have the Ricky Bobby mentality. If you're not winning, you're not first. You're not a winner. But I think me, ladies, enjoy the process of bodybuilding, the growth, the competition, to see how far you can go with your body, and also finding something more of out of their life. Enjoying the benefits of it, but also understanding that it's not easy. It's not simple. You have to learn to be, as somebody said, learn to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. With all the process of being a bodybuilder, from the dieting to the training. Is when y'all ladies get into shape, your skin's just thin, and you feel like you're got pin needles all over you. But that's one part of the process, and to really lift yourself as a human being when you get into sport. Bodybuilding, even though it's been around for a long time, it's a fringe sport. It's not as popular. I know I've talked to ladies where, you're a lovely lady, and but then there's people who have, again, make comments about how, she got muscles, she's trying to be a man. No, this is a lovely lady. This is somebody's mom. This is my wife. If you can't see this as a woman, I don't know what your problem is. Having muscles doesn't make you a man. It just makes her that she's strong and she's determined. That's one thing you have to be in a sport. You have to be strong and determined. You have to worry about, as I call them, the haters. For me, I love you haters because you know what? You hate me so much, but it gives me energy. Shout out to my man again, Black Panther, just sticking in here and supporting us. Thank you, brother. He says this. He says, when do good things do for people? You will be blessed. I appreciate that, brother. Also, he says, always work smart, not hard, to avoid injuries. Thank you. And also, he says, Maureen, you are the greatest. Keep up the great work as an athlete and teacher. Stay strong and God bless. Hey,
Thank you. Thank
yeah,
you.
these guys, they're fans. They support you, ladies, but also they find y'all ladies very intoxicating and beautiful with your muscles. So, so we're not going to hold much too longer. As you know, you're playing in 2 weeks. And what's the show you're going to be doing?
I'm doing the Hall of Fame in Lexington, Massachusetts.
Yeah. And as you know, this is a expensive sport. Are you sponsored or everything's out of your pocket?
Oh, it's all out of pocket. I'm broke. Yeah.
I know. I think sponsorship does help. It covers the cost of everything from your
Nice.
entry fees to this and that. But you want people who support your goals. Want generally people, and also product that you think you work because you are, you do natural bodybuilding. It's not a lot of stuff that, because I know with the OCB they do very extreme testing.
Hmm. Yeah. Did you ask me something? I'm sorry.
No, I'm just talking. See, this
Yeah.
my style is like we're like on a first date. We're having a little back and forth, back and forth. So that's how because I know you're a little nervous. So this is treat like a first date. So we get us back and forth. You remember the last time you dated? That's been a long time ago, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So, but anyway, yeah, this is about Bible. It's a process, and I think there's people out there who genuinely want to help you see your goals. So you have your kids and your husband that stand by you, your brothers and other people that want to see you succeed is something that's I think most everyday people don't have the mindset to do because it can be difficult. And that's one thing about bodybuilding. It's not so much about motivation, it's about discipline.
Hmm. Yeah, it's true. Um, but discipline comes from motivation. It's tied together. You can't be disciplined if you're not motivated to be. So, what motivates you? What are your goals? What do you want? How bad do you want it? And that's really what it comes down to. I mean, some people it's just not for them. That's okay. I wasn't sure it was for me either. Like I said last fall, my prep was terrible. I just it had nothing to do with my coach. I had a great coach, a good team behind me. It's just I was exhausted, and I think it was I didn't know what to expect, and not knowing what to expect, just I think I wound up doing too much, and so now I know how to dial it back. I'm learning from it. You learn from each competition. What to do better next time.
What would you tell to your students if they get involved like this? Like, what advice would you give to somebody who gets started something like this?
You mean my students at school?
Yeah, or just your students like as a coach, you'll go coach. What's the plan, coach? What I got to do, coach?
Well, it's pretty funny. They notice my arms at school, and I think one day I was wearing a sleeveless shirt, so I took off my shirt, like the sweater, and they're like, "Man, you're jacked," I'm like, I said, "So then you better listen, right? Don't make me use these muscles." But you better listen to me. What do you do to get so jacked? And then the questions start pouring in, and then I start answering questions with yes, I lift, yes. Do you do jujitsu? I was like, no, I don't, but that would be cool too. you know, um, I've heard other things like, can you do pull-ups? I'm like, just they ask questions. I answer them, but if they ask me, how do you do this? How do you do that? I'm like, you have to work at it. It doesn't come just because you want it. You have to work at it. So, and I mean, the kids that I coach, I think are very respectful of that and listened, to what I had to say, especially my track team. They did great, by the way. They did really well this year, but they asked questions about, how to get to be a faster runner and how to do this. What can I do to recover from this kind of pain, and how can I make this stronger? So, they're good at listening. They take the advice, but not all kids will. Some kids do, but the ones who really want it will.
I think with children, when they see something that reimpresses them, they're curious. And that's one thing about it. But as adults, we're set in our ways. We have our ideas, our beliefs, and it's hard when you're already grown. You got a thing. We have things where from your experience. But with children, they are a blank slate. They can be easily taught if they're willing and wanting to be taught. That's the thing. If they're not, then there's nothing you can do about it. But those are curious about looking at like, Mrs. Sikora, she's like, wow, she's jacked, she's buff, like how she does it. And they ask you the questions because they want to learn. And that's the thing about that. That's the thing about you. That's why one thing my big regret is not having children of my own. I have nieces and nephews that help raise them, but children are just so, it's amazing. I know your babies are proud of you, and your family and your husband are proud of you because you're doing something for yourself. That's the most important thing about it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. We got here one more here before we head out. Shout out to my man Lawrence Perkins. He just popped in about the Mr. Senior Crime, Lawrence. He says, good afternoon, Miss Maureen, George, and everyone on the chat. Happy Friday. Happy Friday to you, brother. It's Friday. I used to remember when I worked my jobs. I used to work one job. I worked 10 hours, 4 days a week. And then I was off on Friday. I tell guys, while you fools are at work on Friday, I'm at home watching cartoons, eating cereal. So, So anyway, we'd like to thank Maureen for coming through and appreciate her time. Congratulations on both her pro cards. And now she's going to be competing in Massachusetts in 2 weeks. Wow. God, time flies. It seems like we just started 2026.
I know.
Is it just me? When we get older, it seems like time. Remember, Christmas took forever and birthdays seemed like it was like a year away. Now Christmas is around the corner and birthdays is just a couple of days down the road. I don't know. What is it? It's just because we're getting older? That's why?
It is. It's because as you get older, one day is a smaller percentage of your life. Like 1 year is only 1/50th of your life right now. Right? But when you're 1 year old, 1 year is 100% of your life. So it's different.
Thank you, Master.
Yeah.
I think that's just very
lesson of the day.
That's very insightful. I mean, that's very insightful. So, folks, if you want to follow Maureen, her links in the description. Reach out and genuine interest and support. I mean, these ladies can use it. Again, this is a very tough sport for anybody, and especially a lot tougher for women because, again, the idea where people view a woman with muscle is offense to the everyday person. But you know what? She's a lovely lady. She took time to talk with me. She was kind of timid. She says, I'm like I said, it knows your first time, but I'll be gentle. So, what would you say for yourself is your biggest goal in this sport? In anything between the pole dancer and the bodybuilding?
Oh, for both. All right, for bodybuilding, I would love to become a pro champ. That would be a great goal. That's my goal eventually, to become a pro champ. I'm just starting out as a pro, so I know that takes time. So I'm ready to do that kind of work. But I'm not ready to give up my other sport either. So they have to coexist. That's the thing. Pole dancing is really important to me. I love it. And I am not going to give that up for anything. So I have to figure out how to fit it in. And I do want to compete in pole again. So hoping to do one in November would be great. We'll see if I can get myself together over the summer enough to be ready for it, but I want to compete as a level 4. So if you don't know anything, pole sport has 5 levels at the PSO competition, 5 being professional. I am not professional, but I competed level 3, so it's kind of intermediate, and level 4 is a little bit harder. So, there's some things I need to learn for that and to get better at. So I'm hoping to compete in that level at some point.
Well, like I said, man, you've been doing this for a good while, and you found something for yourself,
Yeah.
and you enjoy what you do. That's the most important part. You should enjoy what you do, and and I know you don't want to give up one for the other. You want to have both, and you can find that duology. Just be both the bodybuilder, to be both the pole dancer. That's good. I know a lot of people sometimes have to make choices, but then you know what? You do you. That's all I
Yeah,
can say.
exactly.
So,
Thank you for interviewing me today. I
you,
appreciate
you to
taking the time.
quote from my favorite hero, the Dark Knight himself. He says, "You never have to." You have anybody want to give a shout out before we let you go?
To anybody who's watching, thanks for watching, and thanks for your support. I appreciate it.
Well, you're welcome. Oh, he has to say something before he lets you go. He says this, Maureen. I want to tell you something. You are beautiful. I'm sorry. He's just, he's in conference with me. I'm seeing a specialist about him. We'll eventually merge our personalities.
Okay.
But but anyway, folks, we'd like to thank Maureen for coming through, sharing her story. Best of luck. Congratulations.
Thank
You
you.
want to check her out. Her links in the description of this live stream. Guys, be genuine, be supportive. These ladies can use it because this is a tough sport. It's not for everybody. So anyway, folks, I'd like to thank my man's coming through, my brothers, Lawrence Perkins, my man Black Panther, my brother KL the Wanderer. Anybody who check out this video, follow, subscribe, support my content, support Maureen in her upcoming competitions. Check her out and show respect and love. So, Coach, we are out. I thank you for your time and
Thank
wish you
you.
best of luck.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome, man. So anyway, you too. Folks, it's man that we enjoy page, aka the Emperor of Female Body Talk. Don't like, subscribe. Good luck. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and shout out to you out there. Have a happy upcoming June. Your kids are out of school now. Yeah.
Bye. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.